Time for a rhetorical question in the name of pushing the next part of the narrative. Are retro mountain bikes getting too expensive? Well, kind of. I guess it sort of depends on what kind of retro mountain bike you're actually looking at. Take a look at the market of Kleins and what some of the ones with desirable paint jobs are going for, and well, it's just absurd. In that case, they're going for so much money, they become precious. You wouldn't want to do anything with it. Is it worth it? Are they too expensive? Worth it? No, in my opinion. Too expensive? Yes. Or say, for example, some arsehole on the internet took a 93 Specialized rock hopper and made like hundreds of videos about it and garnered lots and lots of views to the point that people wanted to build their own either drop bar rock hoppers or other versions of rock hoppers. Possibly if you're very stuck on a certain model that maybe has gotten a little bit of attention in the last little while, then yeah. Anecdotally, through messages that I've been given, possibly the prices have become a little bit, well, a little... It seems, at least from the information that I'm kind of given regularly, that the prices have all kind of gone up, especially for the bikes that kind of demand a premium because of what they are, what the name is, and possibly their history a little bit. So depending on the overall shape of the bike, the price that you're getting charged to buy that retro mountain bike and what your plans are for it, it could pretty quickly become, well, kind of not worth it. Say, for example, just out of something that I experienced with this, if I was looking at this thing, knowing I wanted to do the drop bar conversion, modern gravel parts on a retro mountain bike frame, if this came up and it was $500, $600 Canadian to get to me, I would not have bought it. That raises the initial budget way too much. But buying this thing for $200 for the complete bike, that was like at least somewhat rideable. I was able to do some stuff to get it like riding right away. That made sense. That was worth it. $500, $600, I'd go looking elsewhere. I'd be looking for something like our good friend Work Truck here. Even the GTMX, the bike that this started out of, it's like a good candidate for messing about with stuff. GTMX started life with like a suspension fork. It's like a 90s steel V-brake mountain bike. Lowest one in their lineup. I paid $70 for it. There was no desire from any other human in the world to buy that thing. I had like a bit of an idea in my head of what I wanted to do with it, and then pivoted when I ruined it to create, in my opinion, the coolest bike on the channel. And then there's Work Truck. Work Truck showed up here as just a frame. It had a stuck seat post in it. It had its problems. They got dealt with and kind of fixed in due time without a whole lot of hassle. I managed to get Work Truck, a rally something, I don't know, I guess it was Dior LX equipped at some point, for $0. No money. The guy that was selling this Concorde for $50 sold me this Concorde for $50 and said, I have the green frame, do you want it too? And I said, yeah, I do, because I'm gonna do something with it. The takeaway here though is the commonality of the lack of clout between both of these bikes. The GTMX, the Outpost Trail, like whatever, a super undesirable bike that nobody wanted, listed as bike for sale, and this rally that nobody can ever find any information on because there isn't any, because it's not a really great frame anyway. So even though it has this definitely fake Tange Infinity steel tubing decal on there, which it definitely does not have because it's all like seamed steel pipe. The bones are decent. If you have an idea, if you want to put together something, like there's nothing wrong with doing it with this retro frame because nobody cares about it. It's very inexpensive and it's just like, yeah, you got ideas, take it out on that old rally, no problem. I kind of make that same argument with the GTMX. The Outpost Trail is a very, very mass-produced bike. Lots of them out there. You know, finding one or something similar to it, great platform for doing fun things to, like welding disc brakes on and turning into like a 26-inch BMX. Or like learning how to melt aluminum with gallium. How's that? Is that better? So, getting back to our original question, which I posed on my Patreon today while I was shooting this, are retro mountain bikes getting too expensive? And actually on the Patreon, which you can support below, I worded it as, are retro mountain bikes still worth it to get? General consensus is still, well, kind of. On Patreon, I think we can all agree, everyone's like, it's a great foundation to get started and learn bike mechanics for not too much money and maybe get a bike going for like $200, $300, and boom, you're on the road riding something that you can continue to kind of tinker with as you go. And then there's me on the other side playing devil's advocate saying, if your eyes are stuck on the bikes that are demanding high dollar because of their originality, with the thought that you're gonna do something like this to them, it immediately becomes too expensive and not worth it, in my mind anyway. Now, for me, because I have zero sentimental value towards old school drivetrains, 3-bys, old school cantilever brakes, pretty much any of the parts that bolt on to the frame or fork, I could absolutely care completely less about. It's all about trying to find a decent shape retro mountain bike frame and fork that I can put all the modern goodness that I like onto and constantly create stuff like this. Let the lovers of terrible retro drivetrains and brakes and wheels have their original bikes for their high dollars. Keep giving me decent retro frames and forks that I can bolt and weld anything I want onto, and keep the price low.